Hello. I'm finally here. Took 15 minutes, 16 minutes. I tried. I tried my best. I actually ate pretty quick, to be honest. So we tried. I tried to do as quick as I could. I actually thought I was gonna delay stream for like maybe half an hour or an hour. It's not too bad. We're not too bad. We're okay. But we're here. That's all that matters. Everything's fine. We're fine. My hair, I'm not a fan of how it looks today. So I'm probably gonna complain about that for the most of the stream. I'm trying to ignore it. I had it in a braid and it looked really nice when I took it out. And then it's like blowing 40 mile per hour gusts outside. And then hospital air. It's just gone puffy. I have Hagrid hair today. But yeah. At least it's like, wizard vibes. Also, I have this cardigan on because I was like, oh, what if I get cold? It's been so hot, which is why I haven't been streaming. And now I'm like, oh, what if I get cold? That's controversial. But it's only 16 degrees right now. But I'm a little hot, I'm not gonna lie. We might have to take it off. But I have like an ice pack too. I'm being like contradictive. I have a cardigan on. And I have an ice pack. Because I don't know what the weather's doing. I feel like the humidity actually might be quite high. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna check. How humid is it? Ah, it's only 50% humidity right now. It's just me then. I'm the problem. It's just me. But yeah, I haven't played PALIA all week, pretty much. I got on for maybe an hour or two, but I was like AFK. Like I was playing, but like, watering my plants and stuff. I am too hot. Oh, let's take this off. I've got it if I need it. But yeah, and I haven't really played since last stream, and I kind of miss it. So I think we just need to. I don't know what we're doing today actually. But is this like? No, it's fine. I don't really know what we're doing, but I've just missed playing the game so much. I was like, we'll figure out. I think weeklies should have reset. I didn't do them all last week. I think we forgot. We did a lot of them on Monday. That was, I think, what Monday's stream was. But then we never finished them. So we'll maybe try and do a little bit of weeklies and just see how it goes from there. But I also really want to do that new game, like the mushroom game. I don't know how to play it. But now that we have the froggy plush, which we really wanted to get last stream, I think we can try and do the game. And hot pot and everything else in between that's going to get me plushies and things. Although I really do want to play the game because you get flowers from it and you get mushrooms. So I think we do it. I think we play it. We try. We try and play it. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm not going to lie, it could be terrible. But just see how it goes. I don't know what we actually do, so we're going to have to like figure out. Which actually, maybe I get up on my phone and we have a little look. That's not PALIA. Okay. Because they put on. Here it is. Pixie Blossom Bounce. Yeah, okay. So some seeds will spawn close to the ground. So you can collect them just by walking, jumping. Oh, okay. So we actually have to do. Oh, you can do it different ways. See, I didn't know any of this. I had no idea. I was like, oh, I thought you had to like be up high and shoot them all from up there, but apparently not. So you can actually do them from just walking and jumping, or climbing onto the platforms. So like nothing too difficult. Mushroom buds will appear that players can water to grow into bouncing mushrooms. The more people water, the faster they'll bloom. Some seeds are bigger, bluer, and worth twice as much. They start as a shield that can be broken with an arrow or smoke bomb. I feel like the smoke bomb bit doesn't make much sense. I get the arrow. I get that. That kind of makes sense. In what world? In what world is a smoke bomb gonna break something like that? I don't know. But yeah, so we can try and just stay low and see how that goes. And then medium, it says 5 minutes before the fun starts, blue lights will start to trickle down from the tops of the trees where the event will happen. This will give you some time to get ready and get into position. However, I remember last stream when we were trying to do the frogs, just before the game shut down, I was like, oh, why not just try and do this before the game shuts down just to see how to do it. And it like disappeared. Like the mushroom bit disappeared like within seconds. So now I don't really understand it. It's telling me to get in position, but if I get in position, it's gonna disappear by the time the game even begins. I don't know. Okay. I mean, it says that we can chain together the bouncing mushrooms. That sounds very complicated. So we'll just like go and do it. Look, I'll keep the article up on my phone, but I kind of want to see what the Wikipedia, like, does it have like the time on it and stuff when it starts? Because I'm terrible with knowing what time it is in game, even though it's right in front of me. If I have it up on this, I seem to know more. Oh wait, it's not on the Wikipedia, I don't think. It's on PALIA. I think that's where it was when I was using it last. There's like a clock. Do I have to scroll to the bottom for it? No. Where is it? Why is this song playing again? That's so weird. It says PALIA now. That was it, I think. Yeah, okay. Bug trackers, fish trackers. That's it. So do we know when it starts? Does it start at like midnight? It's currently 9:20 in the morning in game. So I don't know, maybe I keep that up for now. But we will try. I think it starts at midnight because we were there around midnight. We'll have to see. But for now, let me get in game. Because we need to do our plants. I did a couple of them. I sold a couple of jams. I made a little bit of money. But we're gonna just do like weeklies and make money and stuff today. That's probably what I need to do. Because like I said, I didn't play much over the weekend. But the AFK stuff... Oh, let me turn this up. There we go. Yeah, we didn't do too much off stream. Because I got into like one of those like hyperfixation moments where I was like, I want to play this game and this game only. And I hate when I do that. And I've just been very like against playing PALIA off stream. Because I really want to play it when I'm streaming and not do stuff. But like after this stream, I think I'll be okay to play off stream. It's just that there were things that we hadn't done yet and I didn't want to end up doing them when I wasn't actually live. So let's like these. Ooh. We got seeds. Which we love to see. Okay. Well, okay, we can almost plant... Do I actually have tree seeds? I don't think I do. Apple tree seeds, not just tree seeds. Hello! How's your day going? I'm good. I mean, I'm good, but I had to have a blood test this morning, which is why I was late to stream. So my arm kind of hurts a little bit, but... But yeah, everything's good. Everything's good now. We're home. We're live. Do I have any apple seeds? I don't have any apple seeds. Okay, we gotta concentrate on letting those trees grow. We got a flow seed. Yay. Ooh, I forgot to fill these up off stream. definitely forgot to do that. Hang on. Hello. How's everyone's day going? I hope everyone's day is going good. I'm kind of like making it a little bit more dramatic than it is. I had to just like have a blood test because I had to take some medication, and the doctor was like, "You need to make sure you get this blood test done to make sure you're okay, because the medication could like mess with my liver or something." So I'm like fine, but she hurt me for some reason. I had like it isn't just like a pinprick. She like hurt the whole of like she left like a big mark on my arm, so I have like a big cut on my arm. So I'm not gonna lie. Kind of hurts a little bit. Are my drops actually on? I think they are. If anyone could let me know if drops are showing up when you end a stream, that would be great. They were on when I checked earlier, but I think they end on like the 2nd or the 3rd. So. We don't have any apples either. I have 1. I can't even make any seeds. Oh. Wait. That's so bad. We need to like stock up on everything. I think that's what we do today. I think we just like stock up on everything. Okay, I did do blueberry jam. Yeah, go ahead and ask a question. That's perfectly fine with me. As long as, because I already feel like I know what's happening right now. Oh my god, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I called it. Oh my god. Honestly, there needs to be like something in place on Twitch because this is just getting out of hand. Okay. We only have one more thing to get rid of, and it's this little pumpkin because I don't need it right now. Wait, how many pumpkins do we even have now? I know we did quite a few. Okay, we have enough for what we need it for because I think I need it for the lantern. So, let's try and stock up on stuff. Make sure we have everything. Okay, I actually do have flares and I think I'm going to take them with me. So let's reorganize everything. And now that we actually have storage, I can go and use... go and do like a lot of stock up and be okay with it. Like, it won't really be like a problem, which is nice. So we can actually go and do everything. You don't have to think about like, oh, I have no storage. Like, it's fine. Perfectly fine. Also, I want to like, is this the Margie one? Yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. Lucky coin. Prize little coin. Okay, we're gonna keep them with me just so that like I can actually use them. Also, let's just fix all my tools to make sure they're okay because we're gonna go out on a big hunt for everything. Okay, but first I'm gonna go to Elderwood because we need to see if I have the materials to make any of the other relics. Are they called relics, or are the relics the things you find to make them? You find the artifacts to make the relics? It's not very clear. It's very confusing. But let's go see. No. Okay, so I need some materials basically. So we're gonna go and do them. Because I do not have anything right now. Ooh. Oh, I got this from the drop. What's on sale? Is it tools? I think it was tools. Okay, these are still on offer. What were the other ones though? Is it just this one? I could have sworn they were on sale. Oh, was that the thing that was like a problem when they were like, actually, sorry, it wasn't supposed to be on sale? So they like said they were gonna give people the money back that bought it. I was like, damn it, I should have bought them when it was a glitch. Like I still wait. Do I have these on? I probably do, right? No. Wait. How did I forget that I bought that? There's no way. Wait, is it only for certain ones though, right? Oh my god, I completely forgot. I completely forgot that I had these. Is this a frog one? Oh my god. Look how cute. Look how cute. And there's a frog one for the... How have I not had these on? Look at this. Oh my god. I didn't even think. I didn't even think. Okay, we need to do weeklies, so. I keep forgetting to do the house tour ones, though. I'm not gonna lie, I keep completely forgetting to do them. I don't know how. Literally, like, I'm like, oh, I'll do them after I finish stream. And I finish stream and I close the game. Every time. I just completely forget. Oh my god, my arm. Oh, I made that water way too strong. I'm gonna have a big bruise on my arm by like tomorrow's stream. So if you see it, just know I can't do anything about it. It's gonna be horrible. I hate when you go and get a blood test. If it's like a student doing your blood test, they don't hurt me. If I have a student doing it, it doesn't hurt. If I have someone that isn't a student, it always ends up hurting. Always. I'm like, no. They're like, oh, have you had this done before? I'm like, yeah. But it doesn't hurt me normally. Hi, friend. I see a look. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Let's go and do some frogs. Maybe. We go do that. Go to Deep Woods. Go and get that done first. Honestly, it's not too difficult now. I think it's a little bit harder to... Oh, wait. Can we even do it here? The frogs class as uncommon. Is it uncommon? Uncommon. Are there even any uncommon bugs in Elderwood? I don't feel like there is. I said this last week, didn't I? Like, I was like, I don't know if that's like a thing. Uncommon. No? Okay, there is. Okay, so these guys, the butterflies, and this beetle. Oh, wait. Okay, the cave pixie. Okay, we can do that then. So we can do the cave pixies for that, and the frogs just in general. The frogs are going to be the easiest ones to find. Like straight up. But then it's going to be a little bit easier to just go to like the caves and do the pixies. Apparently their class is uncommon, so that's nice to know. It was a little bit difficult last week to try and do it in Killamore. I thought it would be quite easy, but for some reason it was just like very difficult. I have no idea why, but they made it like seem harder to find. Wait, y'all are uncommon, right? No, I think that one's the one that's common. Wait, was it this one? It was. No. Okay, so we just do cave pixies straight up and do frogs. No. Okay, we can't cross that way. Never mind. Let's go back this way. Yeah, I don't know what it is. They've changed something about the books. I used to go to Killamore and be able to do most of the weeklies, like, straight up very quickly within the hour, and it doesn't seem like the way anymore. It's just very annoying. Very annoying. I've gotten used to things being a particular way for so very long. And now they're just like, we could change it. For what reason? For what reason? Why did it need to be changed? Very annoying. Okay, how do I get back up there? I just sworn. Oh my god. Please. Thank you. I was gonna freak out. I don't like climbing up these trees, which is why it's gonna be so annoying. That's where I meant to go. Well, we'll fast travel. It's gonna be very annoying trying to do this game in a little bit. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go. I have no idea if it's gonna go well or not. I have this feeling it's gonna be the most troll-like experience that you guys are gonna ever watch. And it's gonna be so frustrating to watch me do it. But we'll try. It's gonna remind me of the tower, because I never finished that. I saw someone complete it in like 5 minutes the other day on TikTok. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Anytime I've ever tried to do anything like that, it's not good. I'll solve a puzzle. I'm not climbing something and jumping on things, and I'm not doing it very well. That's for sure. I've tried it in other games before as well. I remember when... What was it called? Like, The Only Way is Up or something? Like, I don't know what it was called. It was something where you had like a pickaxe and you had to swing that and use it to help you climb up this like platform game. It was so difficult. It was so difficult. We found a pile. Yeah, it was so hard. It was fun. It was funny to like do, but it was so difficult to do. And at the time, that was like 10 years ago now. Oh, we don't need that. Damn it. We're never gonna find this last one. I don't even... Yeah, we found 2 last time, I think. Damn it. Okay, K-Fixie. Right? K-Fixie. It's the blue one. Oh, I hear it. Hello. Thank you. Okay, they make like a noise. Like a bell. Like that. Where is that? Here? Yeah. See, I can like hear them from miles away now. And also, I probably should be doing that too, but I'm just gonna try and focus on one thing. Because if I try and do more than one thing at once, I'm just gonna get confused. It probably makes a lot more sense for me to just like, let's get the books done first. Let's get the books done. Because like, we don't have anything. I have used everything. I've used all of my money. And now I have nothing. I'm broke. I'm broke in more ways than one. Which honestly isn't very fun. I kind of like having the freedom of doing what I want in the game. Not having to work my way up. But how did I get over there? What? Yeah, I like the freedom of being able to do what I want and not having to think about it. And so like having to be like, oh, can I afford that? I liked it. But they got me like 6 plushies, so I just don't really care that much. You know? I'm like a little bit mad that I don't have any money right now, but I'm also like, I got six plushies. How can I be mad? How can I be mad at that? So, I'm trying not to care. Trying not to care. We'll make money today, it's fine. Right? Even if we have to hunt for like an hour, we'll do it. Also, like, now that I know that these are what we need, I can just do this here so easily. So much easier. What is that? Oh. Wait, that confused me like crazy. That did not look like any bug I've actually caught before. It looks like a new one. We only need... like, a couple more of those. Is there another cave around here? Or do we only have frogs? Oh, do we only have a frog? Maybe it's only one frog and no caves. 2 frogs. It would actually be kind of nice if while I'm doing this, I got a plushie, right? Or is the one the only one I'm gonna get? I was so happy that we did that in the end. It was right when I needed to end stream as well. Perfect. Yeah, there's none around here. Okay, let's go back through this way. Apparently they spawn in the stables, so worst case scenario, we find them there. Let's see. If I walk around, maybe I can find them. I thought that was one. I could hear it. Also, we're not doing the pet quest just yet because apparently it requires a black pearl. I don't know if I saved it. I don't know if I saved it. I got one on day 1. Now I feel a little bit silly that I didn't save them. But we're gonna check. Because if I do have a black pearl, like, I'm fine. I'll do it. Like, as long as I can actually find one. Because some people are literally rage quitting because of it. And I'm like, what do you mean? I spent so long playing this game. I'm not quitting because of a pearl. I know that it's convenient, right? To have, like, the ability to send things home. I know. I get it. I had the feature before everyone else did, so, like, I can't really be, like, the one to judge. But don't quit over that! The game has so much to offer. You don't need the pet. We played it for 2 years without the pet. It must be, like, new players, though, that are getting very annoyed with it. Which is fair enough. But... yay! We need 4 more of those. Wait, which one did we do? With other players? How did I do that one? How have I done that with other people? That must be bugged. I have not done that. It's also saying I haven't done uncommon. Common, uncommon. Do these not count? What's going on? I think it's bugged. It says that I've done 10 bugs with other players, but not any of the uncommon ones. And yet I found 10 cave fixes. I think it's bugged. I think it's bugged. Like, what is this? Do I restart the game? I don't want to. I don't want to restart the game. Wait, this guy counts as well. Let's see. Is he gonna give me anything? Oh, no, he's the other one that doesn't count. That's annoying. Like, I caught 10. 10 uncommon. How are you gonna tell me that I've caught 10 uncommon and not give me the achievement? That bugs me so much. I don't want to restart the game because it's gonna take like 5 minutes to boot back up. Yeah, that is extremely unfortunate. But we do have to go to Kilmer at some point. But I just thought this would make like it a little bit easier to do, right? Like I can just do them in the caves and I know where they are and it's like easier to find. Being trolled. Being trolled. Okay, it's 6 p.m. Does the... Okay, wait. I'm gonna fast travel to the Deepwood. I want to see... Does it start at 6 or midnight? If not, I'll travel back. But... let's see. It was over by... the water... No, which way? Which way? This way. So surely, like, I think it was up here, actually. I think it's midnight. Because we were down here. And it popped up, so I don't think it is yet. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Let's leave that for now, then. How did you get up there so quick? Okay. Do we go and do hot pot? Oh. 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 Oh my god. Do we do... Oh my god, the game. Do we do hot pot and then we come back for, the, like, minigame thing? I might only really need to do the minigame, like, a couple of times just to get the flowers I want. But I think we're going to do hot pot. So I can get some coins because I can't really afford to buy them. Which is very annoying, but we'll get there. Now that I know what to do, I think I can get there and do it. So it won't be too difficult. Oh, and we can sell these as well. We've missed an hour of hot pot though. That kind of hurts a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I need to start like coming here like just before so that I get the full timing. Especially if I want to do... If I want to do the minigame as well as hot pot, it's going to be very complicated. I feel like they need to do one thing in the morning, one thing at night. And keep it there. Like, the market being open at the same time would be horrific too. Can you imagine? You've got, like, the market, the minigame, the underground, trying to do hot pot. Oh, no. That sounds awful. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that. Sounds very annoying. So we don't have much money, but if I see something I seriously need or want, I'm gonna buy it, but we don't have anything right now. I'm not joining that table. I'm not doing that. I'll start a new one. Anyone want to join? Yeah. Yay! We have at least one friend, I think. No! Wait, what? This one. I don't want to join that one. I feel like I'm stealing someone's place. I want to know what time this starts at. But it doesn't tell me anywhere. What's it called? The, Pixie Blossom Bounce. What time does it start? Oh! Oh, we might miss it. Shoot, I didn't realize it started that early. The tree lights start in 5 minutes or so. So it starts at 10 PM in game. Yikes. Yikes, that's not good. I'm gonna miss it. I really wanted to do it. If I win this game early, we'll go do it. I can get this quick. It starts at 10 and ends at 10 past 11. Oh my god. That's not very... That's not very good. That means we've probably missed it already. It's like 7. Oh my god, okay. Okay, we're gonna go back because I really want to play it. Wait, let's do one of these. Just one. Just one. No. Okay. Can I not fast travel down here? That's a little bit weird. There's no like fast travel sign down there. That's a little bit irritating. We're gonna try and do it by just being at the bottom because apparently I can do them by just like walking near it and picking them up rather than having to like bounce and jump around and climb and stuff. Let's try and do that really quick. Get me there. That's at 10 and it's 20 past 8. I think we'll be fine. I could have probably even played another game, but sometimes the games run so slow. So I don't trust it. I'll be fine. We'll get there in time. I'll do it. Hello, you're going to try doing what? I am gonna go try do the Pixie Blossom Bounce. Yeah, that's a mouthful. We're gonna try. It starts at 10 in game. So we're gonna go now. We should be fine. I thought it started at midnight, but it actually ends at 10 past 11. Not even bothered with it. I want the flowers. It gave me green onion. It gave me green onion. Okay, it's over here. I think. Right? No, this way. It's this way. Yeah, it gives you like mushrooms and stuff like that. So like, I kind of need it. I think it's over here because when I was over here with Raz the other day doing the frogs, I like saw the timer pop up. So I think it's around here. I think it is. We'll just like assume and hope that I'm right. And if not, we'll find it when it begins. I'm gonna assume it on the last like 5 minutes. Like IRL. But we'll see. There's no one here right now though. Oh, there is one person. It's 9 PM. Maybe people don't show up until 10. She did? I'm so sorry. I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you guys are doing okay. I wish there was something I could do for you guys, but I hope everyone over there is doing really well. I hope she went peacefully though. I was thinking about you over the weekend and stuff too. Like, I know it's not the same thing, but I was there with my mum throughout my granddad. And it was definitely very hard to deal with, so... Not like I understand straight from your perspective, but I was there, like, the entire time my mum and I like... We're coping. Oh, I hope everything's going okay. Be there for each other. That's the good thing. Where's this? My God. I think we're doing this alone. I think we're doing it alone. I don't see it anywhere. Expected, but we're suspected to be... Yeah, I honestly... It happens so quick that it's like... I feel like time passes by too quick too. I completely feel for you right now. Hopefully I can be like some kind of a distraction. I'll try. I don't know if you're like gonna feel like playing or anything, but if you do, you can just follow me around like a dog. I wouldn't mind it. Oh. I found it. Oh, there are people. The next 12 weeks was 5 days ago. Ah. That's incredibly quick. Oh. Oh, we're not gonna do that one. But this is easier than I thought it would be. She says as she just falls. Oh my God, I don't really want to do this like 5 times, so I just need to do as many of them as quick as I can. Wait, it tells me what I get? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? They're giving me weeds. Is that attractive what I was doing? Well, she took me for a blood test this morning and it took way too long. So I think she's probably tired. She's probably tired. I got her laughing though for like 30 minutes. She was like cry laughing. But yeah, my hospital right now is ridiculous for blood tests. Tell me why they take so long to do blood tests. We were there for like 2 hours. The only reason I had to have one was because I was on medication for something. And it was like, my doctor was like, you need to have this blood test to make sure that you're okay afterwards. I'm like, okay, sure. I feel fine, right? But you have to wait 2 hours to find out that I'm actually fine. And then like a week or two to find out I am fine. For sure. Very annoying. Okay, this is the biggest troll. Right? Like, this is the biggest troll ever. Hello? They've all disappeared. And regularly because they want to keep an eye on my diabetes. So, like, mine was to figure out if my liver was okay after the medication, because apparently it can, like, damage it, but I think I'm okay. And every time we go, because my mom's on medication that can also damage a liver, I think. So she gets to have them every couple of months. So we go very early in the morning, the minute that the clinic opens. 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours every time. It's incredibly annoying. Incredibly annoying, but we were number 46. Number 46 when I got there. The room was packed full of people sat down. There was one seat, luckily, that we got. And about 50 people stood outside waiting. I was like, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Never used to take that long. I used to go for them during school a lot because I was a new mic. It wasn't a problem. Now it's apparently a problem. Wait, should we plant these in here? That might be cute. I want to see what they look like. I think they're just elderwood flowers. I think that's what they are, like, and the mushrooms. But they look cute. I'm like really excited because I need these to decorate. They're gonna look... Oh. I'm doing the wrong thing. Oh my god. Yeah, I want these to decorate with. I think now that we have, like, witchier stuff, I think I might try and do that off stream now. Now that we've done the other stuff, because I didn't want to play PALIA off stream. Because I didn't want to do anything that I hadn't done on stream yet, but now we have. Now we have, so I didn't need to think about it. Get seeds already? Wait, what? I didn't have this the entire time. I didn't realize you could do that. Not medicate for my diabetes, just as we were hoping it would control it with diet and exercise, although that's sort of gone to shit last week. Yeah, but a few days honestly isn't a problem. Even in that situation, you'll get back to it. Don't pressure yourself over it. You'll get to it. Honestly, a couple of days does not really even change anything. Where am I? Okay, this is so confusing. Where are they? Where are all of my artifacts? Where are all my artifacts gone? Am I tripping? Why? But they're here, but like, where did they go? What? 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 Okay. What did I need? I don't think we got it. It's this one. Statue 1. Statue 1. I don't think I got it. Wait. No, we got statue 2. Oh my god. You have all yours now? Let's go. I only need 1. It's just that statue 1. It's driving me insane. Like, I keep getting doubles now. Like, I traded a couple of you guys for the doubles, but like, I have these 2 doubles now. But because I have the mermaid, I'll do it. I just... You know me. I'll get around to it. I'm not doing it yet. But we do need to water my plants, so I don't really want to go anywhere. I think we'll wait and we'll water these before we go and do anything else. I don't feel like the artifact stuff is as bad as the bundles though. I feel like the bundles were fun in the moment. Move that too far under my desk. I feel like the bundles were like fun to do to some extent. To some extent. I mean, like, it was like an adventure type of thing, but it became boring once it took far too long to do. But these ones were just annoying to have to do them to really progress in the update and stuff. So. Okay, we have nothing in here now. I don't feel like I need gold. I have gold more than anything. Why do I have more gold than anything else? Like, I have no pallium and I have, like, this much gold. Because that's what we're going to do next. I have done this. I haven't done this. It's bugged. That is so annoying. It's literally the wrong way around. I'll just try and ignore it. But it is very annoying. So, I think we'll go and do the pickaxe ones, the mining ones, and then we'll just do the hunting ones, and we'll just do hunting and stuff because I don't really need wood, but I could do with a couple of these. I think I need a couple of them to build stuff. I traded last week because my head's gone shit. I forgot who it was. I had enough time to get. Oh. That's so good though that you actually finished it. I don't like trading. I'm always like, do you want like anything specific? They're like, no. I'm like, are you sure? Because I would rather give you something you need. I don't want to give you something you don't need. But like everyone has everything now. So it's just kind of like, you know? Wait, which one of these is the best one? Basic. Heavy, okay. Wait, how fast is it doing them? Oh, we'll wait for this. But yeah, I don't like trading, so I'm kind of avoiding it, but I'll probably just do it off stream. In case, for some reason, it becomes a little bit like, I don't need that. I'm not trading with you. They needed those items, but I had all of them. All of them? That's so good. That's so good. There are people that have like 10 of one. I'm like, I have a mermaid. If you want it. Like, I think having a mermaid is good. A mermaid and the toy. They're the ones that people really need. Oh, I need one more. Damn it. All but one? Nice, though. Now they only have to have that one. Now they don't even have to worry about it. Wait, maybe we should actually put the rest of these in so I have them. Not the rest of them, but like 50 of them. Right, keep like 100. Then we have what we need. I can finally actually make this now. I think they managed to trade for it. Nice. Nice. See, you did that. You did that. Let's go. Wait, time is moving very slowly. I don't have anything to put in these. That's kind of bugging me out that... Oh wait, we actually got quite a bit of gold though. I didn't realize I had that much gold. Are these better being... jam? Oh wait, I think I got a screenshot. Did I take a screenshot or did I delete it? I think I deleted it. I do this all the time. I'm like, oh, I need to know how to do this thing. Let me take this screenshot. And I delete it. Why do I do that to myself? Why did I just like save the post? That's very annoying. It was like a screenshot with like which is better to use. Let's see. I think it was on Facebook. Save. Maybe. Did I not? No way, I didn't actually save it. Oh my god, I do that all the time. I do that all the time. I'm like, let me save this thing so I know what I'm doing. No. No. No, I haven't. Damn it. Okay. It's fine. Let's just go see. And pumpkin, 101. Wow. Okay, 101. Seeds. 4 of them. 25 for one. And I only need 1 to make it. Did I need more than 1 for the jam? Because that's not much. 25. That is not worth it. All I need is what? Okay, we're gonna do this. I know I need some of them to use for is it the lantern, I think? But I also need money, so I'm just gonna like put a couple in. I don't think I need that many for the lantern, and if I do, I'll just plant more. It's fine. Okay, we have 30 pumpkins still. But at least I'm making some income because your girl's broke. Your girl's broke. Also, we should probably see. Do I have... No. Do I even need it? I have 135 silk. This is what we spend the money on. That is crazy. I don't think I'm even going to need silk ever again. Oh, we should probably do that though. Ads die in 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. I hate that ads have to exist every time. Because I started Streamlit as well, I can't even predict when they're gonna happen. It's gonna happen at 12 minutes past, roughly. I think. Around then. Usually, if I've never started Streamlit, I've only just not streamed. So like, I either start stream on time or I just don't stream, right? And it's not because I like to start stream on time and it's like a thing. If I just cancel stream, obviously there's a reason. But I've not actually started stream since I started to schedule late until today. I ruined a streak. It was very annoying. But these last couple of days, there would have been no chance of me streaming because it was just way too hot. It was way too hot. Like, when I say that, like, I had these, like, I've got an ice pack wrapped in like a tea towel right now, like, because my body just like doesn't understand that it's not like 25 degrees right now. It's like, oh, you're cold. No, you're hot. So I'm like, okay, ice pack on my neck all week. Water like crazy. Eating like not even proper meals. Like I tried to eat a hot meal. It was like, what was it? Like noodles. It's like a wasabi like bento box thing, which I love, and I loved eating it. It was nice, but it was like it tasted good, but it also made me feel kind of sick because it was hot, because it's like a microwave one. It's not good. Warm food and hot weather do not go very well. I'm not gonna lie. It's easier to stay warm than it is to cool down. And I think I did good. I think I did good. I'm quite pleased that I managed to keep myself cool. But I just felt sick all week. And I hate that. I despise it. So, I'm not gonna lie. If it's that hot again, we might be missing streams again. I really didn't want to miss a stream. I was really annoyed because today when I went for that test, I was like, oh, if I have to miss stream today, I'm not going to be happy. I would have streamed. It would have just been a bit later, and I just don't really like streaming very late. So, you know, I even said to her when I went, she was like, "Oh, can we do this arm?" I was like, "No, can we do this one?" Because if this arm hurts from the test, which if you do the blood test correctly, it's not going to hurt me at all. I'm not going to bruise, nothing. But if you do it and it hurts, I can't game for like 48 hours because I'm pathetic. So I'm like, no, can we use my like keyboard arm, please? Please. She didn't ask why, which I'm glad because it would have been like, I can't play my games if you do it in my right arm because it's my mouse arm. But it's true. Like, if I have a bruise on my elbow, like, it's gonna hurt. So, hopefully tomorrow I don't have one. I hate that. It's like the biggest pet peeve. The biggest pet peeve of it. But I feel like I'm gonna have like a very big purple bruise on my arm. I'm not gonna lie. Also, why is time slowing down right now? Like, it's really, really slow. Oh wow, these grew very quick. How big are these gonna be? Why are they so... Wait, why do they need watering again? I thought they watered at 6. Why do they need watering so quick? That's really throwing me off. I don't remember them needing watering this much. Yeah, it was really bad by us. I don't know, like, how it was everywhere else. I know further down south it was even... In fact, actually, I don't think it was even as bad down south. I think usually it is. But, like, up north and stuff, it was... It got to, like, 28 the other day, I think. Try going to your town centre during a heat wave. Right, when you already feel sick. Don't do it. But yeah, it was awful. It honestly just like, I think a lot of the time people might say like, oh, but you're complaining that it's like cold all the time. No, I don't think I'll ever complain again. I don't think I'll complain again if it's cold for the rest of my life. Because wind, I just don't care as long as I'm not really in it. Rain, I do not care if I'm even in it at this point. I nearly went outside yesterday and stood out in the rain because it rained for the first time in a week. I was like, I want to go out there. And I did for like 10 minutes and just stood there in the rain. So if you get the hotter it gets, usually, but I think it was hot enough this time. At least the last couple of days. I heard people being like, what was it? It was like an American that was like, oh, it's only like 20 degrees in London right now. And I was like, it's not. It's like 25 up north, so surely it's not. Must have been, unless they converted it wrong. Like, the Americans are always saying like, it's not even that hot. Yeah, sure it's not. I would love the luxury of having air conditioning in my house, but guess what? We don't have that. I think that like only like rich people in this country have that. We got them all gone. We're just apples now. Yeah, like only rich people in the UK have air conditioning. I think a lot of people in America just automatically have it regardless of what their income is. But their house does not hold heat. Their house doesn't hold heat and they don't realize it. It's really annoying. I'm like, you do realize our houses were built to keep heat in, right? Very annoying. How long do these take? 25 minutes. Okay. I think we're gonna go and do the pickaxe. The pickaxe one. That's finished. Nice. Nice. Oh, my bitrate, like, jumps up when we're in the loading screen. Like, a lot. Is that a PALIA problem? Oh, wait. Wait, do we need to go to... Wait. No, just rare ones. Okay, so I can still do... silver. I feel like Palium doesn't work though, I don't think. Not now. Is it a rare one? Or is it better than rare? I don't remember. It's okay though, we'll find silver. I could do hunting at the same time, but I'm kind of just going to do hunting for the money of it. I think. More than anything. I don't really want to do the hunting for, the weeklies, to be honest. It's more so for me, not the actual achievement of it. But like, do I even... How much things do I have? Oh, we use them. I remember. Wait, I'm getting close on one of them though. This one I'm not going to be able to keep very long. 2,000. We're gonna have to use them soon. Gonna have to use them soon. I actually don't know what this quest is. I have no idea what this quest is. It just keeps popping up and it's kind of bugging me a little bit. I don't want to return anything yet. Or maybe it's because I leveled up a character. Maybe. Because I've heard people talking about a locket, but I've never actually done it, so... Maybe it's that. But we didn't finish these weeklies last week, and I feel kind of silly about it, so I'm like... Maybe I should do them properly this week, right? No. We don't even have a choice now, because PALIA glitched. So I'm not even going to be able to do the bugs. Because even when I pick more of them up, the uncommon ones, they basically say that I haven't picked them up. Which I have. It's a lie. Where is the silver? Are you kidding me right now? There's none. There's none. All these spawns are just rocks. What the? Rocks are copper. Where are all the... They're like individual nodes, right? Or am I crazy? I feel like that's what it was. I don't want to have like a compass for this. We might just go to Bahari and do hunting, but then also if we find gold, we do it maybe. But I do also have flares in my bag today. So we can actually tell people if there is gold. I think I have like 8 of them. Oh. So we can actually tell people when I find something now and not feel so bad about it. There is no silver. This is a ripoff. I am being trolled all day. All day. What is this? Yeah, I think we're gonna go Bahari. And then we'll find gold instead. I think that might work a little bit better. Maybe. Hopefully. Because right now I'm not finding a single thing. Also, I think we're just gonna try and keep any of the coins I get this stream until the end, because I think that's when I get the most luck. And we can't buy any right now, because if I buy any, it's not gonna go there well. So, try and keep all of those to the end of the stream, but we're gonna go to Bahari. I haven't been to Bahari in so long. Not like properly. Not because I like wanted to. Only because I had to. Why? I always close my notifications when I don't want them closed. I'll read that after stream. No, you won't, because you won't remember what it is. Okay. Leave that up. I think I can read it. Okay. let's go hunt and try and find gold. All at the same time. Come back. Oh my god. Is this how it's gonna be? Is this how it's gonna be? Where are you? Thank you. I'm not running after them all day. I'm not doing it. No, thank you. See if we can see any, like, flares or anything. No. Okay, so there's no culture now that people are aware of. But I do wonder, like, are people now starting to come back to Bahari and stuff? Is that a thing again? Or are people still just like, wow, Elderwood? Because I do like the Elderwood, but honestly, sometimes... Oh? Honestly, sometimes I do think it is nice to get out of Elderwood and just, like, come to Bahari or something. It's a lot more out in the open. So I think sometimes when you're in... Oh, gold. When you're in the Elderwood, I feel like sometimes it's a little bit too much, right? I love it, but sometimes I actually like being out of the Elderwood. I've gotten to that point now where I'm like, okay, I like all three. Instead of just like, oh, I want to be here all the time and never leave. I'm like, no, you kind of have to leave. You kind of have to leave. The only time we've really left is when we did the hunt in last week or the week before. Whichever day it was. Wait, I hit him. I heard the hit. Why didn't it... It didn't register it. My god, I'm so tired now. Honestly, when you're just sat there, staring at a wall, and hearing the most odd conversations ever, oh my god. Like, I thought that I charged my phone while I was getting ready this morning. Turns out I didn't. So I had no charge on my phone, and I just sat there. I tried to go on the... There's, like, a couple of websites that show, like, animals and things, like live cameras. And I like them a lot, but sometimes they don't work or they're asleep. And I'm like, I just wanted to see the koala. Like, let me see you. Nope. So I couldn't even do that. And then I had like 5%. I was like, guys, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go live. But we got home in time. Honestly, it was like 1:45 and I just finished my food and was like, oh my god. I think I might be on time. 10 minutes, but it's okay. We were 10 minutes late. I don't think anything is happening tomorrow that should be a problem. And I hope that there isn't. It would be nice to have a stream that is on time and is definitely going to happen. Because if I have to cancel another stream because of weather... I don't like that. That will annoy me to no other. Like, I would have streamed last week if it wasn't so hot. Like, there was nothing else preventing me from streaming. It was just the fact that I could barely breathe properly. Like, it was bad. I would have been like, you guys wouldn't have even wanted to see me anyway. I would have been all sweaty and disgusting. Big respect to the people that I saw streaming. I could not have done that. And like, the people that actually live in Florida, people are saying like, the temperatures that we had this week are the average temperatures in Florida. So if you live in Florida and you stream regularly, like no matter the weather, like, oh my god. Big respect. I could not do it. I think with air conditioning, possibly. Possibly, but without, no chance. Like right now, my room is so perfectly temperature. Like the temperature in here is so good. I'm like, okay, I'm not too hot. I'm not too cold. I'm chilling. I haven't been able to close my door all week because of it. It's like, wait, let's see. Wait, how far behind it did I get? Wait, it bugged out so much. Like, you can't, be that close to them normally at all, but you also, like, can't snipe them anymore. So, like, I can't do the thing I would normally do where I would, like, stand far away from them. Wait, did it disappear or something? Where did it go? Where did it go? There's no way. It just like... Oh. It's up here. I think. I just saw something disappear. Where is it? This way. I hear it, but I don't see it. Where is it? Oh my god, this is the most annoying thing ever. Like, how are you supposed to hunt as a solo now? Like, before it was fine. It was fine because you could just snipe them and then go and loot. Now I'm like, I have no idea how I'm supposed to... Look, he's all the way over here. Like, how am I supposed to do that? That is incredibly annoying. No! Like, how am I supposed to find him? I can't catch up to that. He's gonna be running for like 10 minutes. Until I can get him. Oh my god. Oh my god! Slow down! I don't even have any slowdown arrows. This is dreadful. Why did they make this change? Look how far away he is. I have just ran the entire one side of the map. That is ridiculous. Oh my god. They ruined hunting. They ruined hunting completely. I didn't think it was this bad. Oh my god. Oh. What? I got him. Oh, this is terrible. How long have we been doing this? It's one Shernook. Like, come on. That should not be that difficult. Oh my god. Wait, did I actually do it though? No, I didn't. Am I bugged? Is my entire account bugged? It's saying I've caught 10 bugs with other players, but not caught any uncommon bugs. So I haven't done anything with anyone, and I've caught 10 uncommon bugs, so that's wrong. It's saying I've done 5 magical creatures when all I've done is 1. It's saying I've mined 3 rare ores and I've only done 1. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's happening. I don't know why it's doing this. I haven't seen any messages from them today to say like anything's wrong. Maybe, should I be reporting this? Okay, guys, my account isn't working right. Please fix. Like, I don't think I did any of them. Wait, did they carry over? I've just realized. Did they carry over from the week before? If you don't finish it? Maybe that's why. Okay. Yeah, I don't... Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. If it is why, that's fine, but I'm gonna have a look at that after stream. Because I don't know what would actually be causing the game to be like, yeah, you have literally done this thing. Even though you're very aware that you haven't even done it. Like, I'm not mad. It's doing the stuff I don't want to do myself, so it's kind of like... helping me out a little bit. Okay, he's over that way. But I don't know which tree he went in. This one? No. This one's not as hard. Because all they do is run. You know? But like the Shernock now seem insane. Like there. I did it. I didn't even get any of the mains or anything. That's just rude. That's just pure rude. Like, come on. You made me chase something for like 5 minutes. At least give me the good stuff from it. Wait, I should be picking these up, right? Because I can put them in the thing and sell them for leather. Wait, I almost drowned there. Like, these now take like 4 hits sometimes. Which is obviously very annoying. Oh, we got an animal, which is nice. At least we got something. I'm like struggling to find the actual good loot. Normally that's why I actually do hunting so much. Wait. What? Why did I switch to the Elderwood one? Although it did nearly destroy him though. If I used like 2 of them, it seems to just completely get rid of them, so it's actually a little bit easier. Maybe I should use the Elderwood ones. Maybe I should. Maybe I should use them anyway because we've not got much of a reason to use them anymore. Like, I don't need to use them now. I can literally just pick up like everything and do every skill now without having to pretty much do anything. I don't need any ammo. I don't need anything in particular. I can just do everything. Yeah, we got a man. Oh god. Now that I have like all the like the main stuff I need to actually pick up stuff without having to use certain ammo. It's a lot easier. I don't have to think about it anymore. We're getting elder stuff, we're just not getting much Muujin. The Muujin are trolling me like crazy right now. And these guys take like 5 hits. Like, come back. Why are they all running away from me, man? No. You're too difficult to hunt now. They ruined hunting. This is so annoying. Maybe I go fishing. Like, I'm actually considering going fishing. Because of how annoying this is now. I used to love hunting. They definitely ruined it. It's the first time I've like actually hunted outside the Elderwood properly for the first time in so long. Obviously we did it once on stream the other day. Other than that, I haven't hunted since before the update. And this is dreadful. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not happy. This is gonna disappear by the time we even get there. I'm not even gonna bother. I think maybe we go to... Where can we go and get stuff from? We need PALIA. Maybe we just go do that instead. I feel like it's not working very well. I went fishing last time I was on, caught 2-star ancient fish and 3 giant rainbow flit. Ooh, that is intriguing. Not gonna lie. It's kind of making me want to go do it. I saw someone that got like 50 of the rainbow ones very easily. Within like an hour or two. And I was like, either that's like very dedicated commitment, you know exactly how to do it, or you're just very lucky. Let's go home first. But they've definitely ruined it. That does not feel like the hunting I normally do. Spent a few hours running up and down the Kilmer coast, fishing on the pools. Ooh, okay. This person did it at just the, Ironhouse Pond. That was it, so. Oh, no. Nope. Yep. Yep. No. We want to keep all of this because I can... Oh, not that. We can use it and turn it into something else. It's worth. It's worth it. Also, do I need to do these again? No. Okay. Let's put everything in. We got here just in time. Got here just in time. 8 seconds. And then we'll, like, not do any more of these, I don't think. I think we'll leave it at that for now. Until I actually need them. Which if I need them, that means I was productive and did pretty much anything I needed. Like, I actually did do the decorating I was gonna do. Because right now, this plot looks like a mess. I was like, I spent like hours trying to do this flooring. With these, wooden things. Like, I spent so long trying to get them how I wanted them to be. Probably like 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie. And I never did anything else to the plot. And now I'm kind of annoyed with myself. Like, I just left it. Which I don't mind it. I like the layout of everything. I just need more. I need more. Like, I need these things over here to be put somewhere and decorated. Because they're just plonked. They're just like plonked. They've just been put somewhere and I've just left them. I think I need to do something with it. Which I know what I want to do. I just haven't done it. Like, I want to do like a big wooded area. Especially now that trees don't count as decor. I don't think they count at all now. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they do. Anyway, we're gonna go and find pallium and mushrooms. Even though I don't think I came to the right place, I meant to go to the deep wood. This is why I just fast travel. This is why I just fast travel. Wait, that's not the right way either. Is it this one? I think it is. Yeah. There we go. We also have the other pile to find too. So we'll have to try and find that on the way around too. And we didn't find any gold, so I'm going to see if the Pallium works as the rare node or not. Might do. But I kind of doubt it. Let's see. Although right now I am booked, so maybe it will work. What am I on? 3. Now what am I on? For 3, okay. So Pallium doesn't count. Very annoying. But it's okay. We just leave it. It's fine. We'll try and do it tomorrow. I'll see if it's still booked or not. I feel like, okay. When I said, does the previous week like follow through? It would make sense for this to be completed because of that. But I did 10 uncommon bugs and it didn't count. So I don't think it's because it carried over or anything, right? I think it's just bugged. There's just like no other type of an excuse. It's just bugged. I'm not happy about that. I am not happy about that. That means my weeklies are just not going to get done. By the time they can look at the help request thing, it's going to be next week anyway. So there's just like almost no point. Almost no point even saying anything about it. I probably should just so it gets fixed if it happens to anyone else, but in terms of like it helping me, not very likely. Not very likely. So I think I'll just do it for the other players. Does that actually, is it actually a rare one? Oh, it's common. Wait, I think it used to count, but it was when it was like not so easy to find. I think when it was harder to find, it was like it used to count towards the weekly. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. But I feel like I am not wrong. I feel like that is the correct thing. Like, I swear I used to just do Pallium, because you could honestly find Pallium easier than you could gold or silver, because obviously you used to have to, like, just randomly hope you found it. Whereas now it's like, oh, you can just find gold by walking up to it and seeing it. Raz, hello! How have you been? I saw you alive, the last couple of days. I don't know how you did it, but I respect you. I have big respect for anyone that was able to stream these past week or so. Big respect. I had no chance. I had no chance. But I hope your day is going well. Hopefully the weather is treating you okay now. Honestly, not bad where I am. I'm actually kind of happy about it. We found the next pile. Is this going to be machine 1? Is it machine 1? Please be machine 1. Not too bad, just scared where to find my Amazon packages. Ooh, nice. Love that. Oh, it's Asian Statue 3! That's really annoying. Oh my god. I keep meaning to order some from, You got machine 1 yesterday? Is it a spare one? Because you finished, right? Because I was going to trade off stream if not. If, like, no one had it. I was just going to do it if I couldn't find it, too. Oh my god. Oh, wait, it's not machine. Wait, it's not machine. I need statue. Damn it. It's ancient statue 1. Not machine. No. You might have that. Oh my god. If you're online, anytime soon, I would appreciate it if you do. But don't feel pressured to get on the game if not. Because, like, I can trade for it. I have mermaid. There will be someone that has everything but mermaid and is like, does anyone have mermaid? I can be like, yeah, I do. Because my RNG is great, but it's also terrible at the same time. Give me, like, the rarest one that everyone wants, but doesn't give me the basic one that everyone has. You're online? Oh my god. Let's see. Let's see if you have it. If you have it, you've just made me very happy. Honestly, my notifications go crazy when I'm streaming. It's annoying because they're like stuff I really want to read. Like, heading to now. Oh, okay, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there in case you do. I'm kind of hoping you do, and then it's all finished, and then we can spend like tomorrow and maybe Wednesday finishing everything. You have it? Oh my god. Oh my god. I think we're finished. I think that's all I need. I'm pretty sure that's the only one I need. Oh my god. This walk back to the stables when it's something like this takes forever. I'm like, why can't I get that quicker? I'm nearly there. Yellow. No. And give you my my two, what do I mean? What am I trying to say? My two spare ones. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go put it in. Let's go put it in. Wait, which one is it? This one? Oh my god, I finished it! I finished it! You finished every collection. Oh my god, let's go buy the last thing. Wait, do I not have like... Oh, I don't have it yet because I need to do it. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. I think there's like one that I need because I have 8. Maybe it's 2. Okay, well, we have it now. We have it now, which is great. So, tomorrow, I think we'll do that. I think I'll do it today, because we're going to have like an hour, and I don't really think bundles is where it's at. I don't think it is. So, we'll see tomorrow. We can, like, finish them. Finish them all. Hi, hello! Hello, hello. Also, I kind of want to change my outfit. I'm not feeling it right now. Let's go in here and see. Hi, Mom. I love that. Wait, this one? This one? I'm feeling frogs. For some reason, I'm feeling dairy frogs. Hello, people, Mom. Stepped it up one. Yeah, let's put that on. And then make sure my nameplate is correct. It keeps doing this. Oh, stop it. Take the compliment. Yeah, I want all the frogs. All of them. And then, no, I want my plum hound. Where's my plum hound? Where is he? Where's he gone? Where's my doggo at? Doggo. Hello? Where is he? I can't find him. Am I blind? Here he is. He's right there. There we go. There we go. Yeah! Okay, I like his outfit so much more right now. Okay. Well, thanks to Raz, we don't have to do that anymore. We're done. We're finally done. So we have, I think, one more that we can trade. And we are done. So let's just go and look for pallium and mushrooms. We can play peacefully now. Like, once I finish actually making everything, it's gonna feel great. It's gonna feel great. Like, having to, like... It was like the same feeling, I think, when you finish the bundles. When you finish the bundles all that, like, time ago for me, I was like, oh my god. I don't have to do anything now. I can chill. Maybe, actually, I should do, like... Honestly, I'm feeling kind of chaotic. I feel like I should just... do everything. If that makes any sense. I feel like I should just be, like, trying to hunt every schmoll I see. Hit every pallium I see. Pick up every mushroom I see. You know? Like that. Because they're gonna give me mushrooms. Which I need. So I'm trying to make money right now. So honestly, it wouldn't be a bad shout. Schmoll party. Honestly, I need other stuff too, though. So maybe we'll do that at some point this week. Maybe. I'm kind of just, like, being chaotic with it. Like, I need pallium. I need, iron. No, not iron. I don't need iron or gold that much. But I definitely need everything else. So, like, I do schmoll when I'm near them. Otherwise... I do pallium. Yeah, they're not spawning now. This guy is, though. What is that noise? What is that noise? Is it them? There's not even a hole there, though. Like, what? That's weird. I got another schmoll push. Oh my god. I haven't really played much. I got on the other day. I was doing some coloring and just had like an AFK Palia moment while watching a Fortnite tournament. It was very chaotic. I was doing everything all at once. I'm not gonna lie. I was doing the overstimulation central type of thing. I had everything going at the same time. So I was just like watering plants. That's the only thing I did. Other than that, I haven't even really played Palia for like a week. To be honest, I probably could say I haven't really played much of anything because it's been too hot that I haven't even had it in me to even play anything. So I haven't got any schmoll yet. So maybe we should have a little party and do that at some point this week. Get that thing again. It sent 10 plus up again. What is this thing that you keep saying? You haven't sent me anything. What are we, like, looking at? Is it the, is it that thing that's saying it's like a power-up thing that you can, like, send bits and stuff to do with? I saw that in someone's stream the other day. Let me go on my stream and see if it's there. I don't know if it'll do it for me. It's there. I don't know if it'll do it for me. Ah! My ears. Okay, I don't see it on my stream. Let me go on someone else's. Meet the tab. I don't see it anywhere. Send me a text. What? Where is it though? I don't see it on the stream. In the picture you sent me, there's nothing. I don't want to say it, but I feel like you're seeing something that's not there. I have no idea. At the side of the chat box, there's nothing there. I don't see anything. Did it disappear just before? Don't send me any bits or anything. I can't refund it. if that's the feature I'm thinking of, it's a beta testing. Not all streamers have it. She said was it this morning that a couple of days ago on my last stream, she sent me 10 plus off something and she didn't know what it was. And now she says she's done it again, but I don't even know what she's saying. But I do think it might be what you're saying, because I was watching a streamer the other day and I was like, ooh, what's this? And I clicked it and then it was like, you can gift bits. I'm like, is it just like an incentive thing? I have no idea what it is. Like, I tend to get the beta tested stuff early. Like, I have the 4K streaming thing, or whatever it is, 2K stream quality thing right now. That not everyone has. Like, I sent you a close-up. Wait. You haven't sent me anything. You haven't sent me anything. I love how, like, I love when people, okay, when you use technology and you do something you don't understand. I find it really cute. I don't know what you've done. You're coming up, okay. It's a way to use up odd numbers of bits. Oh, so if you have 12 less, then sending 12 left, and sending 12 to stream will do 12 plus combo. That's kind of cool. That is kind of cool, but it's confusing for my mum. So she's like, I said something and I don't know what it was. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. What have you done? I think we know what it is that you've done, but I just don't know how you've done it because I can't see it on stream. Yeah, but it's not there now. I think it's just that. I wouldn't worry about it. It's going to make you pay before you have to send anything anyway. Use picture as some description on the screen. Does it show like a picture pop up? But you don't even have any bits though. It's not happening. I know what you're saying though, because it happened in a stream I was watching the other day and I clicked on it on my PC like 10 times and I was like, whoa, oh. It's just bits. It's like, it'll ask you for payment information before you do anything. Huh? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you click it a certain amount of times when it comes up and then it asks if you want to buy bits. So it's like, it wasn't the bonus channel points thing that pops up under chat, was it? Was it because does it go green? Or is there a little picture? No, I don't think it's the bonus channel point thing. I've tried to tell her about that before. But you click on submit. There you go. Yeah, it wasn't the bonus channel points. It was that bit feature thing. Which is just really annoying because I didn't even know what it was. They haven't even told me about it, and for some reason my stream has it. That's great, Twitch. It's told me that I could do 2K.
Want me to play this game?
Oh my god, don't lean on my chair like that, you'll break it. She kept telling me this morning that she doesn't know, she couldn't pick a shroom. We're sat in the hospital waiting room for a blood test. She's like, I tried to pick my shroom the other day and I couldn't do it. And I'm like, if you say that any louder, you're gonna get like really funny looks. It's so silly. But it's just that, it's not, you're not gonna do anything. But don't give me bits if you don't want to give me bits because I can't give it you back. It's like this, here. This little icon, right? No, it'll show up as an emote or something when you click it a certain amount of times. It'll be like, here, buy the bits that you want. You click it a certain amount of times to basically get the amount of bits you want to send. It's like a donation, but it's a different currency, but you pay real currency for it. but you have to actually like buy them. So like if I click on this, this is what will come up when you do it. We think that's what it is. It will. If you click it enough times, I think it'll come up and it'll be like, hey, buy them. What? No, I know. I know, but that will be what comes up when you do it. But you're fine. Oh my god. What? You're fine. We all been there at one point in his lives. Yeah, like I used to have like a virus on my laptop as a kid, and I didn't know it was a virus. It just looked cool, so I downloaded it. We've all been there. Yeah, these guys like to help. They'll help with anything. Don't even worry about it. This is the place to ask anyway. Okay. Bye, don't send me bits. Oh my god. Oh my god. Twitch is so confusing to use for the first time though. I remember when I first started watching like streamers on Twitch, I was like, what is this? What does this do? And honestly, I remember I was watching like Pokemon. That was like one of the first people I was watching on Twitch because it was during like Fortnite's like prime. And I remember her getting like sub after sub after sub. And it was very confusing as someone that had never used Twitch before. I was like, what does that do? Like, she's getting a lot of those. And I had no idea what a sub was. I had no idea she was getting gifted like 50 of them at once. I was like, yikes. That is a lot. Looking back, it was quite funny looking back. We've all been there. My jaw hurts now from laughing. I'm in. Wait, what just happened? Did something just happen? I heard a noise. I heard a noise, but I don't know what the noise was. Getting gifted 50 subs sounds good to me too. It was like when she used to stream like every day, like she would be live for like 8 to 10 hours at one point, most days, playing Fortnite the whole time. And you couldn't read her chat. You couldn't read her chat because there were like 50,000 people in there every day. And it was just when I started to use Twitch, but I had no idea what was going on. I was like, wow, she has a lot of whatever this is. It's like £500, right? I think. I think it is. Wait. I can't do it on here. I think it's like 50. 50 gifted is like, oh, I can do it. I want to see now how much that is. 50 subs is £200. Oh my god. That is insane. Like, what? Yeah, she was getting like £200 like every 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. But like for me to have not known what it was as well is so funny to me now looking back. That was before I actually streamed on Twitch, I think. It was around the time I was starting to stream on Twitch. I was like, wow. Is that how easy it is? No. Not. No, that is not realistic. That is like the most unrealistic version of Twitch. It's crazy, actually. Like how... I think in terms of numbers on Twitch, I feel like now there is like one really big streamer. And that's that. I don't feel like the numbers on Twitch are as big as they used to be for like some streamers, which is just like crazy because at one point they were like there'd be like at least 10 to 15 streamers all playing the same game at once that had like 10,000 plus viewers. I was like, who do you watch, right? Like, I had such a hard time when I first started watching streamers, picking who to watch. Now I'm like, oh, I'll watch someone with like 10 viewers. Like, love it. It's so much easier though. Like, when you watch smaller streamers, it's easier to actually have a connection. I've never successfully had a conversation in a bigger streamer chat ever. I don't think I have. Like, how do you chat with someone that has like 100 messages every minute? It just goes by so quick. You have no chance. No chance. Oh. I see how it is, PALIA. They don't want me to do anything today. They're just like snatching it away from me. Yeah. How many mushrooms do we have now? Let's put all the mushrooms together. And then we can see what we have. And then put the miscellaneous stuff there. Okay. We don't have many. Let's go and get some more. Oh, we didn't do hot pot. I forgot about hot pot. I got distracted. I always filter the stream to the lowest viewer count on top of the rare occasion I look for new streamers, as I find streaming with hundreds of viewers too much. Like, I do... It depends on what I'm watching, because I have 2 Twitches, right? Obviously, this is the one I stream on. I don't stream on my other one anymore, but on this account, if I'm going to watch someone, it's usually someone... If I'm going to try and chat in the stream, it's going to be someone with less than, like, 100 viewers, pretty much. Like, I cannot keep up with streams that have any more than 100 viewers. I'm kind of a bit like... There is an exception. It's like, if I'm not going to talk. Right? Or if I know that I have something in common with them, to the point that I can definitely speak and have a conversation, they're probably going to read it. I just don't like trying to talk to someone and they just don't see it. I'm like, oh, okay, I see how it is. I know you can't help it, but I don't like it. Like, I want to have a conversation. And then there are situations where, like, with Fortnite, you kind of just watch people that have a lot of viewers, because I watch competitive Fortnite. I don't watch casual Fortnite. Unless it's like an update day, then I'll watch like a casual streamer that's more like a content creator type thing. For like the funniness of it. But I watch a lot of competitive Fortnite, so I'm not really gonna watch someone that doesn't have many viewers, because I'm gonna watch the ones that I know are doing good because they're entertaining to watch because they're doing good in the game. But when it comes to cozy games, I'll always be the one watching the smaller streamers. I love the interactions. Stream start in 2 minutes. Stream starts in 2 minutes? Ad start in 2 minutes. Your girl's half asleep right now. I'm half asleep. Oh my god. Ooh, we don't want to go that way. Is it this way, the deep wood? I don't think it is. No, it is not. No, it is not. Nope. I keep doing that. It's so annoying. We'll fast travel. It's easier. In fact, how much pallium do I have now? That's not enough. When did 50 pallium not become enough? You know? When did that not become enough? When did it become a problem for 50 pallium to be too low when the Elder Woods came out? It's just not... It just doesn't make much sense. Like, oh, is that enough pallium? Nope. No, it's not. Sounds ridiculous. Like, I sound ungrateful for the pallium I got, but it's just not enough. Like, there is no chance if I go home with 50 pallium, I'm even going to be able to make one thing. Or that's the only thing I can make, is just that one thing. Oh, I don't have my pickaxe on. I do have my pickaxe on. It's bugged. There we go. Now I'm happy. Now I'm happy. No, I'm not. No, I'm not happy. Oh, wait. Is this the one that doesn't have the frog? That's so confusing. I just want everything to have a frog version and it just doesn't. Why can't they just bring out a whole set of frogs? Frog tools. Who decided? I need to know who decided. Hey, I know what's a good idea. Let's release frog tool skins. But, you know, there's a catch to it. Let's only release half of the tool skins. Does that sound like a good idea to anyone else? Because I don't think it does. Half my skins are just plain green and the other half are frogs. Sounds cruel. More time. So much frogs to smash rocks. But it's fine to use them to water my plants and knock down trees and stuff. Like, imagine a little frog ball. It's kind of like weird that I'd be catching frogs with a ball of frogs. But it sounds cute. Hello, DJ. How's your day going? You've had them all times over a period of time. They bait you to wait for the other set to come. That is a good point. I get it. The marketing of it. I do get that. I do. But I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. They keep giving me things and I'm just like, give me the rest of them, please. I think we're out of pallium though. So I think we'll go home and put it in. And then we might go to Killamore and find mushrooms. Just do like mushroom hunting, honestly. Agile, no! I hate Agile. I get it. I don't feel like buying skin sets that don't have everything in it. Yeah. I was against it, but then... What was it? It was... this bundle that came out, and I already had this outfit. And I think I already had this one. So then, like, these, I was like, I gotta get it now. I've been released from Agile for good behavior. Let's go. Let's go. I hate Agile. Ads just annoy me. Nothing annoys me more than ads. I think anyone will ever understand my hatred for it. Drives me insane. Like, what is the point? I think we should just ban ads. I said it. I think we should just ban them. Get rid of them. No one needs them. I don't need them. I don't want them. I understand your hatred for ads. They bug me so much because I'm like, I don't want you to have to pay to watch me, right? Why? I don't know why you would. I wouldn't. I like ad-free viewing, okay? But like, I don't know if anyone else uses an ad blocker and watches a lot of YouTube. Oh my god, it is terrible. You basically have to turn it off now because it doesn't let you... On my PC at least, when I try and double click the video to get it to full screen, it glitches. When I try and rewind, it glitches. When I try and pause, it glitches. And apparently it's something to do with the ad blocker being on for YouTube. And I do that. You don't have to turn it off. But I don't turn it off. I just kind of like live through it. There is a way around it. Oh, do tell. Do tell. I'm willing to listen. It's just very annoying. It's very annoying. Oh, there's a... Oh, yeah. Don't tell me on here. Don't tell me on here. Yeah, not a good idea. But yeah, it's bugging me like crazy because I'm just like... let me watch the video. Like, I don't know if like, okay, I don't know how old everyone is. But I started watching YouTube when I was like 7. Okay. And I used to watch music videos on repeat. Because that was what I did in my spare time from school. I would come home from school and watch Taylor Swift music videos on repeat at 7 years old. But there used to be either no ad at all before a video or in between, or just one ad before the video started. Oh my god. I think ads these days, the ads these days are terrible. Like the Twitch ads infuriate me because they are useless. Like I was 24. Whoa. You were my age. Oh my god. That's so cool though. I wish I used YouTube when I was like the first time when I was older. Like I wish I was a part of the MySpace generation. I was just after that. I was the Tumblr generation. Unfortunately. But like the ads used to be like useful. They were ads that actually made me want something, right? Like as a kid, ads are very useful because you're gonna buy something. Like you're gonna buy something. So it's worth it. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like as a kid, I was like, oh my god, like I need this toy. They were very useful. Now, Twitch are like, look at this product on our Amazon storefront. Buy it, please. It's useless and the ad is terrible, but buy it. No, I don't need it. It looks terrible. YouTube's like, here's a foreign ad that you can't even understand. Great. Here's another one. 10 minutes into an hour-long video. I don't know about anyone else, but you used to be able to watch stuff on YouTube with 0 interruptions. Like, I pay for Twitch Prime, for Amazon Prime, so obviously I have Twitch Prime and stuff. Why do I get ads now? I have to pay double just to not get ads. That doesn't sound right to me. It sounds like a scam. If you had told me, like, a couple of years ago that we would have had that problem with, like, YouTube and Twitch and stuff with ads, I would have laughed. I'd have been like, ah, no. Watched a fair documentary the other day on YouTube. By the time it finished, AVP had blocked 600-ish ads. Unblocked. Stopped. Almost double that. 600? To be honest, I was on... I think it was like a Wikipedia, like a gaming Wikipedia page, and it said it was blocking like a good couple hundred. So, still have more work to do. Thank you for being here though, I appreciate it. Hopefully your work treats you well. Have a good rest of your day. These apple trees are taking forever. They are taking forever. I'm not happy about it. I want my apples. In fact, do we have... Oh, we don't. We can't even really buy apple seeds. I mean, we're going into Kilmer anyway. Let's just see how much they are. I might buy some. But I would like to buy some other stuff instead of seeds, to be completely honest. Because I don't think we can buy the plant, but I think we can buy the seeds, right? Because that's where you buy them from the first time. My god, I love that skin so much every time I see it. It's so pretty. He used to allow ads on YouTube, but I came across a video and it had a 30-second ad every 5 minutes over an hour. Yep. I watch a lot of like deep dive videos that go into depth of like TV shows and stuff like that, because I don't know why. Don't judge me. I don't know why I watch stuff like that all the time. I do. It's like either someone reacting to it and sort of giving their opinion on it, or just like they go into detail about the show I've already watched. Like I've already watched the show, but I want to know their like side of it, right? And tell me why I am 5 minutes in and there's an ad. I just had 5 minutes of ads at the beginning. Now you're going to give me more. And then it's been 15 minutes and there's like 10 minutes of ads. I'm like, why? You can't even skip them now either. They're like unskippable. Which is even more infuriating. It's like, in what world did someone come up with this? It's like the more money a company gets, the more they want money from you. Like, what? You have more money, now you want more from me. Whoa, I'm not buying that. Hell no. Like, the more money that Google gets and the more money that Amazon gets, the more they want you to pay for something. Like, I'm not paying for YouTube Premium. This is not 2010. I don't need YouTube for music. I have Spotify. Okay? I don't need anything else. I just need Spotify. I use it every day. It's worth me paying for it. I'm not paying for YouTube. Like, honestly, the only thing that Amazon has done that makes sense is Twitch Turbo. I'll give it to them. I think it's worth it. If you're gonna buy more than 3 subscriptions every month, just buy Turbo. And I think if any of a streamer has a different opinion on that, I do not care. I'm like, I would rather you be able to watch me without ads than having to pay every month to watch me without ads. I think £15 a month is better than having 7 subs so that you don't have to get ads ever. Like, currently I only pay for 2 subs on my other account so that I can watch tournaments interrupted. Other than that, I don't like paying for them on that many accounts. I'm like, if I get Twitch Turbo on one account, I'm gonna want it on the other account. And it's so frustrating. I just feel like feels very dystopian, right? I remember when there were basically no ads, or the ads were so relevant you barely noticed them. Like, I miss old Disney Channel days. I want to go back to 2006. Take me back. Take me back to the time when you used to run to the toilet in between a show. So that you could, like, not miss your favorite show. Like, all the ads were on Disney Channel were, like, a music video. It was like, listen to this new song for, like, 2 minutes. And then you came back and the show was on. I miss those days. Now it's just so irrelevant and not needed. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. Please don't make me watch this. You can honestly put a YouTube video on these days and walk away and come back for like maybe 10 minutes and the ads will still be playing. Which is actually something that sucks about my videos as well. Like, I upload my VODs on YouTube and obviously I don't edit them down or anything. I just straight download them and upload them. I try and cut like the starting soon screen down. But other than that, I just leave them like unedited because it's worth my time at least downloading them. It takes me like an hour to download, upload, and make a thumbnail, right? It's effort, but it's not as much as it would be if I actually edit it down. It would take me like 6 or 7 hours. But it's like, I know they don't get many views, and I think it's probably just because of, not just because I don't edit them down, because they're VODs. I get that that's probably one reason why. I don't upload them to be like, hey, look at my amazing video. Like, I'm not doing it for that reason. Like, if I wanted to, I would make an actual video. But people are gonna get like 50 ads in that one video. It's like 2 or 3 hours long. I wouldn't want to watch that either, if I'm being completely honest. It would put me off. But there are people that are like, oh, I haven't seen this streamer before. Oh, she doesn't stream on YouTube. She just uploads them on here. Okay, well, she has a Twitch. Let me go to a Twitch. That's why I do it. But it just sucks because people just don't want to watch YouTube anymore. Even though, in my opinion, ads on live streams on YouTube are good. They're not that bad. And they're relevant, usually. But ads on Twitch are as bad as regular YouTube ads on videos. Oh my god, I'm level 45? And it was the green onion that got me there? Oh my god, it's like fate. It's like fate. It was meant to be. I am just foraging right now because I cannot do one thing at once. There doesn't seem to be enough of everything to do it. So I'm just kind of doing this instead. Also, I kind of forgot to put the leather thing, or the hide to make leather. I don't actually have my balls on Twitch, but I do record them through OBS, so if I come out to ever upload them to YouTube, I don't have download them. They take like, honestly, I just have bad download speeds on my internet. It's not Twitch that's the problem. It's just my internet not being great, but it's not terrible. It's just like sometimes it can take like 10 minutes for a 3-minute VOD. The Elderwood update one took me about 30 minutes because we were live for like a long time. Not like the night of it, but the day after. It was kind of long, but it's worth it to me because it has definitely brought a couple of people over to Twitch. And I don't really post on other platforms very much because I find it kind of stressful. So like I can justify, ooh, sticker pack. I can justify streaming a good maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Having somewhat of a schedule. I know it's been a bit of a mess because of like the heat and everything, but streaming a couple times a week and having my VODs on YouTube. So it's kind of like I'm posting content, right? It's not, but it kind of is. It helps you get discovered more. And like obviously I'm trying to grow on Twitch. Like it would be nice. So I am trying to do that for that reason. But it also means that I have them over on another platform to go to if they have to be deleted on Twitch. Because Twitch changed their VOD situation. You used to be able to have unlimited highlights and VODs for so long. Like VODs were just timed, right? You used to be able to have them up for a certain amount of time if you were affiliated or partnered. And then they kind of switched it to basically give you a limit. So now you have this like limit on how much you can have uploaded as a highlight. And I despise it so much. But it did make me start to upload my VODs on YouTube. So it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to just do it. I'm glad that they kind of did it to some extent because otherwise I would never uploaded them on there. But you could always stand in a grow bag and shower in Miracle Growth if you want to grow. It might work. You might be right. You might be right. That could work. Maybe I should try that. Sprinkle it on the channel. But no, I'm somewhat happy that they decided to do the hour limit on Twitch. But I'm also annoyed because I used to just like highlight every VOD and that was it. And it meant that people could go back and watch it. But now it's just kind of like I have to upload them on YouTube. I have a week or 2. But sounds good. Might help balance everything out. Yeah, it definitely motivated me to do it, which I'm kind of glad for it because I never used to upload my VODs anywhere. I used to just leave them on Twitch and not highlight them or anything. And I never saw any growth whatsoever. Because I don't post videos really anywhere else, I just kind of like... It's the best thing for me. It's easier to do. I end stream, I download my VOD, I walk away. I come back with my food after stream and the VOD's been finished downloading. And then I can upload it the next day. Or that day I can just have it uploaded in the background. It might take 30 minutes. And then I have a thumbnail made within 10 or something like that. Because I do use Canva to make the thumbnails. Oh. I read it wrong. You guys' jokes are just too good for my brain to catch up with. The penny finally dropped. It was only because I saw what you said. Okay, I've had like... My brain has been scrambled, honestly. You guys know how bad I am with jokes. I'm always the last one to get it. Oh my god. I honestly thought you said it's a good way of balancing things. Why did I think that's what that said? I swear this is why I think I'm dyslexic. Like, I read words so wrong and backwards. It's, oh my god, it's so annoying. It's like I read my own username as CosyKas, and it's not. It's CosyKas, and I read it wrong myself. Scrambled brain, what happened to traditional scrambled egg? Oh, can you imagine? Oh no. I got that image in my head now. Gross. Oh my god. This heat has gone to me though. This heat has gone to me. This is why I didn't stream the other day. Last week I didn't stream because I had things happen that prevented me from streaming. This week it was like, it's too hot. It's too hot. I don't think I can do it. I was really annoyed though. I was looking forward to stream and then I had to cancel it like the last minute. And then on Friday I was like, yeah. I don't think we're streaming today. It's even hotter. And then Saturday, oh my god. And like, the thing is as well, you know it wasn't even summer until the 21st, right? Half of this heat wave happened during spring. Technically, it wasn't even summer yet. So I don't know how that makes much sense. This is the hottest spring we've ever had in the UK. So I don't... I hope this doesn't happen next year because I don't think we even had spring. Other than the animals, I don't think spring existed to me. Because we had a lot of, like, birds and stuff. And, like, we had new babies and stuff like that. And it was all cute and everything. But the weather? Where were the April showers at? I don't think we had any. I don't think we had much of a spring. Didn't really happen. I'm kind of annoyed. Because I don't mind spring. Spring and autumn are probably the best. Even though spring obviously has like rain. At this point in my life, I don't mind. I don't mind rain. If I'm like dressed up going somewhere, like I'm probably gonna care, but on a regular day, I just don't care anymore. It's rain. What's it gonna do? Melt me? You know? It's not gonna do anything. I'm just like, it's fine. Just deal with it. Like, the only thing that's gonna put me off is like, if I've just done my hair and it took me forever to do. But I don't do anything like that on a normal day. I'm just like, just go out on it. I don't care if I have a hood or not. I don't care anymore. We need to go... I don't think we'll go and do the Pixie Blossom thing. I think we'll leave that now. I've done it once. I can just do it when I feel like it. But we'll probably stay around here so I can do Hot Pot before ending stream. Has that always been there? To like climb on? I feel like I remember that being there. I'm taking up position ready for Hot Pot and is fishing while I wait. Nice. Nice. I should probably do that too. But I feel like I need to keep moving. I don't know why. I feel like if I'm not moving in game, I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep. Like, I was sat waiting for the blood test today and I was just like, going like this. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so tired for stream. But I'm okay. I'm pushing through it. I'm pushing through it. We will get to the end of the stream as planned. I probably won't do an overtime situation. It depends on when Hot Pot ends, but we'll end around 6 as planned. Like heavy metal chopper that'll wake you up? No, it won't. That game, I'm terrible. I've never gotten like more than a couple of points. I used to spend like a couple hours trying to do it though, way back in the beginning of the beta. I'm terrible at stuff like that. That's why I'm so particular about the games I play. There's so many platformer games and stuff out there that I love the look of, but I just don't like platformer games. I'm just like... It's kind of annoying. Like, I want to play a game that's a platform game, but I'm worried about buying it and then not liking it because it's a platformer. And it's like, do I take the leap and buy it? It's not that expensive either. It's a really, like, cheap... I'm pretty sure it might be an indie game, too. I'm not sure if it is, but I think it might be. I need to try and beat my high score again. That's the last record has been standing for half a year? Oh my god. You did it all that time ago? I think my points are literally like... Wait, it's down at his house, right? One of them is anyway. Or it used to be. There used to be one at his house. Should we go see? Because my points were... terrible. Like, one of my most anticipated games of, like, I think last year was Magical Delicacy, or was it this year? And I just couldn't play it. Yeah, like, I just can't get myself to play it just yet. Wait, oh, I've got to die to actually... But yeah, it's a platformer game. So it kind of just, like... It kind of puts me off. They don't save. Oh. Oh. I went bald! Okay, let's try it once, though. Like, properly. I'll show you how terrible I am. I'm literally dreadful. Oh, wait, I just realized. Is the, I'm not playing this. I'm not playing this! Is the record that you have, is it the one that's highlighted on your channel? I just realized. Yeah, I only know what my score is because I recorded it. Is it the one that's highlighted on your channel then? Because I think I remember seeing that. Yeah? Okay, that makes sense. I, like, watched it and skimmed through. I was like, how is he still doing it? He went for a long time. It's kind of insane. I don't know how people do that. But then again, I'm going to assume a lot of people did grow up playing games like that. I grew up with more, like, RPG stuff. That's what I think I would say, that, like, RPG questing type of games. I didn't really grow up with the platformer stuff too much. I think my brother would have played more like that than I did. It's a lower view count one as the highest. It's a lower view count one that has a highest score of 816. How? I cannot, like... I grew up with Pong. I think my mum would probably say the same thing too. She's always like... When, she, like, comes to me and she's like, oh, what kind of games can I, like, play that I, like, play on my phone or something? She's like, I like Tetris. Like... I like Tetris too! It's actually a good game. I used to play, what's that Dynamite one? That one where, like, if you hit the wrong thing, it, like, blows up. I played that a lot. And the, oh, what's that one called? The one, like, with the things, with the ball thing. What's it called? Minesweeper. Yeah, that one. Minesweeper, and then there's another one. I can't remember what it's called. The one where you, like, hit the things at the bottom and it goes flying and bounces and everything. That one. I don't know what it's called. Pinball. Pinball, that's the word. I couldn't think of it. And, honestly, just, like, Solitaire. Like, Microsoft Solitaire, I still play it. I have it on my phone. Like, the basic, Windows... Is it Windows 64 that I would have had? Possibly. I don't know which one it was. Like, the old Windows, like, games that used to be on there, preloaded. But I remember playing, like, having, like, a CD drive, or a disk drive, should I say, on your PC. On your, like, pre-build Dell PC. Back when they were personal computers instead of shortened down to PC. Like, this is This is why I hate how I was like I'm seen as a Gen Z. I am not a Gen Z, okay? I do not have any idea what kids these days are saying, what they do, what they think is cool. My mum knows more than I do. I feel like I should have been a millennial because the older Gen Zs have no connection to the current Gen Zs. Like my friend Jack, he might be in the stream right now if he's lurking, but when we're playing Fortnite, he's always like, he says words and I'm like, I don't know what that means. And he's only like a couple of years younger than me. I'm like, how? I don't know what that word means. Please explain to me. He's like, what, 22? I'm 25. There's a 3-year age difference between two Gen Zs. I don't know what these words are. I have no idea. I just built my PC with a DVD Blu-ray. See, I should have done that. But I also want the ability to play DVDs and stuff on my TV. Instead of just my PC. And I have considered buying like a... You know, like an external one? Where, let's get to the hotspot. It's gonna start soon. That you can plug into stuff. You know, it just has like a USB on one thing, you just put the CD in it or whatever, and it's like fine. Problem with most Gen Z's, they'll share one brain cell. But this is the thing, I don't feel like I'm a Gen Z. I don't fit into the only thing I fit into in the, like, word of Gen Z, okay, the only way I can fit into that category of a Gen Z is by the literal, like, definition of it. Like, the actual definition of what a Gen Z is just by, like, my birth year. That is it. That's the only thing. Okay? That's why I said most, not all. Yeah, see, thank you. Like, he's, like, my friend's literally, he's 22. I'm 25. 3 years difference. But then the 4-year-ish difference between me and my brother as well, because he's classed as a Gen Z, but he's, like, on older Gen Z. I think that me and him should 1000% not be classed as Gen Z. I feel like we're both in a situation where, like, I would say we're both millennials. I did not grow up the way that most kids grew up these days. Oh, it's you! I was like, who's this random person waving at me? Yeah, I don't know. I grew up with, like, stuff that just, like, I didn't grow up with I didn't have a phone at 5 years old or a tablet at 5 years old. Like, the only reason I ended up with a phone in the first place was because I was going, like, I wasn't at home on the weekend. Like, some rest. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, who is this guy waving at me right now? Like, and I looked over and saw the name. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it bugs me that I'm supposed to be, like, known as a Gen Z. Didn't have a mobile till my 20s. My mum probably was the same as well. I think she shared one with my person who I'm not going to say the word of. If you know, you know. But yeah, I got a phone when I was, like, going, like, not here on the weekend. And that was it. But it was a Sony Ericsson with a limit of, I think, 5 to 10 pictures you could take at once. You could not search the internet on it. And I could only send so many messages. And it was like an emergency type situation. It was like if I need my mum. Right? And that's it. That was it. It wasn't like a smartphone where you can do whatever you want on it. No. And now kids these days have tablets when they are literally born. Kids are being raised on tablets and it freaks me out. Like, if we wanted to call anyone, we've had to have a phone line and go into the phone box down the road. Yeah, I've heard stories. She tells me a lot of things from when she was younger and I'm like, I know everything. It does sound so much more like freeing though. I've fallen into a bad pattern again with like my phone, and I'm trying to get out of it because I got into a good habit of not being on it all the time. Like, I have a limit on TikTok. I'm addicted and I can't help it. I'm kind of ashamed to say it, but I have to have like a limit on things where I'm like, okay, put the phone down, read a book. Like, you've been gaming for like 5 hours. You don't need to be on your phone scrolling. Get a book out. Read a damn book. Right? But we had like, I literally remember the first house phone we had like a thing in it. You could press buttons on it. They don't do that anymore. People don't use them. People don't use house phones. They don't use them. Mine had a spiral cord in it connected to the wall. Not just plugged in, but like the phone line. Literally. With like actual buttons on it with a phone book on it. Okay? They don't make them anymore. And if they do, no one buys them. Gen Zs that I'm supposed to be in the same generation as would be like, what's a house phone? Just use your mobile. Like, we didn't have people getting knocked over from walking out in the middle of the road because their face is glued to their mobile. Yes. The amount of people, when I'm in the car with my mum, the amount of people that just like walk across the road with headphones on, with their phone in their hand, I'm like, you want to look up? If I'm outside on my own, I don't, which I don't do, but if I was, like when I was at college and stuff and you used to get the bus and things like that on my own, if I had headphones on, or earphones, I'd only have one side in and my phone would be in my pocket, okay? I was eyes forward. If I was crossing a road, the earphone came out. I don't relate to kids these days. I'm not part of this generation. Get me out of it. It's not fair. Yeah, I'm not part of this generation. I know it's Gen Alpha now, right? So it's not even this generation anymore, but oh my god. It just drives me insane. It just drives me insane. I'm just like, how can I be... Oh my god, that was it. There was a video the other day where there was a girl that someone commented saying like something stupid and someone else replied like, oh, well, she's Gen Z. Or she's like, oh, it's this generation or something like that. She's like, oh, she's not Gen Alpha, she's Gen Z. And I'm like, she's 15. How is she Gen Z? How is a 15-year-old in the same generation as me and my almost 30-year-old brother? That's just weird. That's just weird. Like, how? I don't like it. I don't like the idea that we lump people into, like, a 20-year age gap of generations. No. I'm not here for it. Get me out. Get me out. I don't want to be a part of this generation. The difference between it as well. It must be so funny because, like, every generation has it. It's like, you have people from... Oh, the mushroom. You have people from, like, every generation where there's, like, the younger ones and the older ones, and they do not connect. Like, you've all been through things so much different. I spent my 20s in COVID. Half of my 20s was spent... Most of my 20s, not half, but most of my 20s was spent in COVID. I think I had my first... Was it my 20th or my 21st birthday in COVID? It would have been my 20th birthday in COVID, I think. My 20th was just before COVID. And then my 21st. And then my 22nd. And then we started to, like, you know, come back to a bit normal. But I missed, like, 3 years of my 20s in COVID. These kids will never know. Where some people would think I'm a baby boomer. Everyone is a boomer at this point. If, like... So I don't know, like, if you guys play, any, like, FPS games or anything. But if you're over 18, you are seen as a boomer, okay? There are, like, some tournaments in Fortnite that people run, and they're called Boomer Cups. If you're, like, under a certain age, you can play them. I'm over that age. I'm over that age. Why am I classed as a boomer within the gaming community? Like, none of us should be, really. Unless you were literally born in the baby boomer generation, you are not. And I don't think that, like, anyone in this stream that I know of is a part of that generation. I think it would have been, like, prior to the 50s, right? So, like, why do we just use the word boomer as like a definition of like, you're old? Like, come on. Come on. That's so silly. But yeah. But it's a good thing sometimes. When I play Valorant and there are like kids that are just like screaming at each other, I don't use voice chat. Like, we're aware of that already, right? I don't use voice chat. But I go in the chat and I'm like, how old are you guys? Like 12? I could literally be your mom. Shut up. Like, and they like stop fighting. So it's great, actually. I wish we could go back in time for mobile wasn't in there because everyone was more sociable. We used to have street parties and things like that, and these days people would rather stab you than talk to you or socialize with you. As controversial as that statement is, it's actually very true. It's actually very true. I feel like when I was a kid, the difference between now and then is insane. I can't imagine like being put in front of a tablet all day from like the ages of like 0 to 6, and then you go to school and you're put in front of like another tablet because schools are just like, oh, let's put this in front of your face, or like do this handwriting practice at home on your tablets. I'm like, give them a sheet. Give them a sheet to practice. It's crazy. I know technology has brought so many great things. I'm like, we're sat here right now streaming. We wouldn't be streaming or playing games without technology, but sometimes it goes a bit far. It goes a little bit far. Maybe we should petition YouTube and in there to be shut down for like 1 week every month. Can you imagine the outroar? The outroar? Honestly, I don't know if I would like that. I feel like you've just got to have a balance of it. You've got to step away from it, but people, myself included, struggle with that. So I hate being overstimulated if I can't control the situation, right? But like I said the other day, when it was too hot to really do much, I had PALIA open and I was just doing gardening. I was watching a Fortnite tournament. I had music on. I was watching out for any lightning on the lightning tracker because we were going to have like a bit of a storm happen. And I was coloring at the same time. I need stimulation. I can't get much stimulation without the internet, okay? But I try to step away the best I can because I'm aware that it's not good to be so connected that it's an addiction in a sense. So I get it. I get that it's bad at sometimes, but it has its good stuff. I just think there's so many bad stuff that come with technology these days. It's like I kind of miss the feeling of just playing my Nintendo, like getting my DS out in the car and just like that was the thing. You only had so much choice. You couldn't do everything inside. Like now you've got these tablets that are just like I could do anything I want at 3 years old. That sounds terrifying. I was just playing Nintendogs. Minding my own business, not having a clue about anything in the world. Now there's like 5-year-olds that just like see things that shouldn't be seen. You know? Everyone calls it social media. There's nothing social about social media. It's a toxic cesspool of verbal diarrhea. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Like, for me, the thing is as well, I have two sides of it because growing up, I say growing up, like even now, I didn't have friends. And in high school, the only thing that really, really got me through it was the use of social media because I found friends on there to talk to, whether we never actually knew people or not. But we had like full-on conversations. We were in group chats and everything, and they were from all over the world. And without that, my life would be much different. But at the same time, I'm very much in a situation like I don't feel like it's social anymore. I think it used to be. I think people used it in a way that was social at one point. And then we've come to the situation where people don't use it for that now. It's a popularity contest. It's like being in high school without having to be in high school, if that makes sense. That's how it feels now. Whereas when I needed it and I used it all the time, it was great. To some extent, there were stuff that shouldn't have existed when I was using it in high school, but there were great things too. I don't speak to the people really anymore as well from that time period. We've all sort of just like grew up and like left that like sort of account or whatever it was that we spoke on behind. So it kind of sucks. But I look back on like those years, like I had friends from Peru. Okay, one of like my best friends at the time was from Peru. And like we spoke all the time. It was great. Now it's like, oh, who's like the person you're talking to online? Oh, I don't know them. I don't even know their name. We don't speak. We just like each other's videos. What? What? It's all about driving ad revenue for the companies. That's where the problem starts. It's just made addictive. Yeah. It just falls straight to like the popularity thing. No one really uses social media these days to be social. It is truly just like, hey, like my video. Hey, can you like my video? Hey, watch my video. Please watch my video and just like, I don't care if you like it. Just watch it. You don't have to like what it's about. Just watch it so that I get views. Or like rage baiting and clickbaiting. I clicked on a video the other day, okay? And I normally watch this creator a lot. He annoyed me like crazy. He put like a thumbnail that made me want to watch it. Because it was supposed to be like two players versus each other, like big names. It wasn't even those people in the video. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I clicked on this video thinking it was something else. It was like, looks like I have to go for a while. My sister has turned up for more talk about the funeral and who else need to call. Not sure if I'll be back for the end streams. Just in case, take care. Hope everything goes well. I'm thinking about you guys. I really am. Try and have, I would say have a good day, but just try and have a good day. I'm thinking of you. Thank you for being here though. I do appreciate it. We will be ending stream in a second. In a second. This is maybe the last game or two? Game or two? I've won quite a few of these. I haven't really... We've been talking a lot. I haven't even been paying attention. I think I've won quite a few. Yeah, we have, like, good cards somehow. I'm doing, like... Good distraction help me more than you. I really do hope I can be a good distraction. I try. I do try. But I just appreciate you being here, though. I do try my best to just blab. Sometimes I do just hope that if I just keep blabbing on about things that people forget about other stuff going on. Sometimes I just like talk for so long that people are just like, oh wait, what were we even talking about? You just went on a tangent. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I should be crowned like a professional yapper at this point. Okay, we need one more. You just carry on being yourself? I will. I love it at this point. I'm unconditionally myself now. I realized that in the last year. I don't care anymore. I think the streams actually help with that. I'm very much just like, yeah, I'm gonna be me. I don't care what anyone thinks. Oh, we need one thing. Come on. It's 6 PM. I need to go and... Well, I don't need to go and eat, actually. I'm not hungry yet, but... I need to think about eating, so I need something. Give me one thing. Just one more. No, that's not the right one. Same only need one more. Who's gonna get it first? Who's getting it first, though? That's the question. Oh, damn it. Round 13. No! Maybe I should just do 3 stacks of these because I just feel like we're gonna be going for a long time. Oh, neither of us got it. Okay, oh, there's no one else here though. I'll do one more then. There's no one else here right now. I don't want to be the reason why you guys don't start a game. I feel kind of bad. I'll do one more. And then I gotta go because my eyes are hurting me a lot. That blood test made me tired. Not even the test itself, like, she didn't take that much blood from me, I'm fine. But the waiting around. And let me tell you, I'm not one to hate on music taste. I'm not. I'm not, because people don't like my music taste either. They had, I think it was smooth radio on. And like, that may be someone's cup of tea. I'm not gonna judge you if it is. But I can't sit there and listen to that all day. I can't. I was there for 2 hours. We went from the 80s to the 90s. Now, there is some really good music in the 80s and the 90s. But not the music that was playing. Not the music that was playing. It was tiring music. It was like very mellow music that was like, I think you want us to stay awake, right? Put the rock music on from the 80s or something. That sounds a lot better. I think that would go a lot smoother. But no, they were just like, yeah, let's put the most tiring music on ever so you all fall asleep, and then when we call your name, you're not gonna do anything. Okay, I am done because I am so tired. I'm sorry to leave you guys without a person. But the mellow music is for a reason. I guess it could be to stop anyone from being like violent with them and stuff, which I kind of get the thing of it, but at the same time I'm like, I don't want to fall asleep. Oh my god. What are we gonna get a plushie or not? Or is this just gonna be like, I'm gonna sell it all? Gold. Okay. Okay. Stop on the yellow. Give me the yellow. Is it the yellow one we want? No. Okay. Well. Yeah, that is definitely what we wanted. Okay. Let's see if any of these. Ooh, I like that one. Another cow one. I've got a cow collection now. It's how people keep calm as people struggling. Oh, true, true. There's like 2 situations, isn't it? Like some people are getting anxious and then some people get a little bit violent with like the stuff and stuff. Either way, I get that, but oh my god. There are better songs you can put on that are like calming but not gonna put you to sleep. Like, I don't know. It drives me insane. I struggle to sit there and listen to it. I was like, my eyes were closing. You know. Let's buy 2 more coins. Why not? Yeah, I forget sometimes, having had that many blood tests in my life because of being like chronically ill, like I forget that people don't have blood tests that often to be like normal for them. Okay. 6 balls. Let's see if we get a plush. No. Oh. Okay, we got a skateboard. We got a skateboard. Cool. In fact, let's move this down here. We got a skateboard. Cute. Nope. We got an apple tree seed. Okay, I actually like that seed. Okay. We got one more chance. Is there gonna be one? I feel like we run out of luck now. Butter! I don't need butter. Nope. I don't need that. I didn't need that. That's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Oh well. We got a decor piece. I can't complain too much. I mean, it's not my kind of thing that I want, but oh wow, we got something. Oh, I forgot to open the sticker pack. Oh, and I did that without changing the screen. I think I just unlocked a new sticker. It was a Hadari one. Hang on. Where is it? It was this one. Oh, no, I already got it. It said unlocked. I thought that meant that if it was unlocked, like, you got a new one. That's crazy. Okay, let me go over to Twitch. Let me see who's... You can have all my stickers next time if you like. Have you got loads of new, like, spare ones? I gotta send you guys somewhere. Because we haven't read it in a while. Oh my god. Is that a cat? Oh my god, there's a cat. In this heat, let alone like on that. There's a lot of hair. Holy cow. I don't know if you can look at that. That's his drool. Okay, I'm gonna send you guys over here because hello. This cat. Oh my god, it's a chunky cat. Please tell me they have raids on. Yes, they do. And let me just see. Okay, she just started stream about 15 minutes ago, and she has a chunky cat lid on her chest. Go say hi. Go say hi and see the cat. I should see you guys tomorrow. I'm not leaving the house tomorrow. I should be in the house tomorrow and be live at 3 p.m. VST as usual. And hopefully everything goes okay. Chunky cat stream. Love a chunky cat. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you then. Bye. He'll drool a little bit because and it's not will run on your